Hey Katinka.
Hi.
What are your expectations for visiting the tower today?
Well, I'm quite excited to see it, especially after you told us so much about it. I'm very excited to see the ravens. Hopefully they'll be there, because we heard a lot about those. And then I'm just generally interested to see kind of the surroundings. To kind of see, I'm excited to see the crown jewels I'm hopefully going to get to see. And I'm just generally, you know, always excited to see how things look in there and how they kind of live and all that. So.
All right. Hey Michelle.
Hi.
What are your expectations for a trip to the Tower of London today?
I'm excited to see the ravens, and also I'm just excited to see like all the different towers and to see how everything was back then and how they lived and everything like that.
All right.
Master Secretary, we have our results. Very good. These people here have heard him say from his heart that he will not accept our king as head of a church here in England, and therefore he is a traitor to this land.
Very good. Then we shall be in court, and we shall be brought to trial and see how traitors are dealt. Thank you.
You have heard this yourselves, friends. This is not something that we have made up. You have heard Thomas More do this himself.
Very good. Very good. Yes, from his own lips, these words.
Rachel.
Good morning.
So here we are standing in front of the White Tower, which is usually the most obvious marker of the tower when you see it from a distance. And this is one of the oldest parts of the castle, and it was used for many things over time, namely as a residence for the early monarchs who lived here. But then after time it actually became part of the prison itself and housed at least a few popular people, namely Anne Boleyn, who most people understand that was a prisoner here. And also, just a little bit behind us, you can catch those buildings with the white that I pointed out earlier, you actually have these buildings that were used as residences, either for higher up figures who were actually imprisoned here, again Anne Boleyn, but also Sir Walter Raleigh and his family. It wasn't that uncommon for the family to be able to come and live in these apartments while their husbands were imprisoned, for instance. So we're going to go explore those now.
From the outside of the tower you could see a lot of small slits looking like this. They kind of look like windows along the outside walls. And what those actually are where the archers used to shoot out of, and this is one of the areas where they used to sit to do that. Here we have the chopping block and axe where all of the executions happened. The prisoner would put their neck across the block and their head would get chopped off. Now, actually the whole block weighs about 125 pounds. That's a heavy sucker. And here we have all of Henry VIII's armor. The whole big thing. For size comparison, here is King Edward VI's armor. He died when he was 15, so he didn't quite get to his full size. So there's that armor compared to the armor I just showed you. So the game to practice your sword fighting skills. Man, these are quite good. Nice. Here's Becky to introduce the ravens.
Okay, here we have the ravens. They're not out right now, but they're sitting in their captivity. The ravens are known as the guardians of the tower, and if they were to die, then the tower would fall and eventually all of London would just crumble.
We have Kelly here, and we finished up at the tower a little while ago. So Kelly, how do you think that our visit to the tower related to stuff that we've talked about while we've been in class?
Well, the tower was banging, just like class, but besides being super cool, it also had a lot of things that we talked about. Like one of the things that you mentioned in your presentation was Colonel Blood, and how he was the only one who successfully stole the crown jewels for a short time. The thing I learned new though at the tower is that he actually negotiated a pardon with the king and convinced the king to then pay him £500 a year. I had no idea that he would do something like that, and to me that seems surprising that the king would pardon a thief, so I'm not sure if he stayed on to help with that. And then I also really liked Bloody Tower and how we learned more about the two princes that were murdered. And I know you and I talked about this earlier. I think it was King Henry that killed the two little princes, but it was cool because at the tower you got to vote and press buttons on who you think did it because they still don't know. So I thought it was cool getting more of a closer look at the mystery surrounding the place. And you talked about that in class, like, and about the ravens and stuff like that. So I thought it was cool seeing it in person and kind of getting our own perspectives and actually being there. So.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, we have Sarah here.
Hello.
Now, what was your experience like today? Did you enjoy it? Like, what did you get from it?
I thought it was really interesting. For a little bit, Kelly, Michelle, and I went into the crown jewel display and exhibit, and we thought that was really interesting because each monarch has their own set of jewels and whatnot, and I guess it just really shows the country's like dedication to tradition, like not reusing old diamonds. You know, like we have to buy this queen all new diamonds. We can't recycle diamonds. But I just thought it was really interesting about how dedicated they are to, like in the coronation, just going by a specific order of things that were done centuries and centuries ago. So I thought that was really fascinating.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.